So I'm kind of excited about breaking this down and showing you guys some of the techniques that I used to create this product commercial. What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now, whilst I was actually filming this commercial, it was a bit difficult to get the behind the scenes shot as I went along. So I decided I'm going to come back to it and I'm just going to set it up again and break down the key shots that were used in the video and show you how that was done. So without further ado, let's get right into the studio, which is over there. Yep. All right. So what I'm going to do first is actually baseline. I'm going to break down everything from scratch and then build up and show you how we got to where we got to and my thought processes along the way. All right. So I'm gonna catch you there. Okay, guys. So the first thing that I want to do in here is to baseline everything, baseline the environment and the ambient light that is coming through into this space. So as you can see behind me, I've got some big windows. When it's very bright outside, then there's a lot of light coming in. But that light isn't constant, you know, it's all over the place. Depends on what's happening with the cloud cover and that kind of thing. So if I'm going to be shooting in here all day, I'm going to need to make sure that the lighting is the same the whole way through. And I can't control what's outside. So what I'm going to do is block these off with these blackout blinds. Okay, so now that we've gotten rid of the external lighting that we cannot control, I'm going to take you through the light setup that I have in here for the shoot itself. So over here we have aperture 300D with a strip box, with a soft box. That's a strip box. Over here we have the 120D with a soft box, and for my background lighting we have a panel LED that's going to be lighting up the background. So at the moment I still have the overhead light on, and I'm going to attempt to show you what I'm getting on here. So that's where the overhead lighting on, and that's the view that I'm getting. So now I've taken off the room lighting and we just have clean controlled lights. So the background light or the backlight is the first one that we've introduced. Now we're going to go onto the second light, which is the rim light over here on the 300D in the strip box, and that's what we have. And just keep an eye on the image on the screen about how it's changing. The next one we're going to go onto is the key light, and for that is the 120D in the soft box, and that just brings the whole image together here. So now I just want to take you through the general setup and the choices. Now this is on a pink background, and you can see the background is about 4 feet away from the actual foreground and the desk, and it's being lit by this panel light right here. And we're using a pink background because that is part of the brand identity for the product that we are shooting for. So if you have a quick look on their website, I'll pull it up right now. If you have a quick look on their website, you know, pink is one of the dominant color within their brand. Also on here, we have a plexiglass that's for your reflections, introducing your reflections. And what it does actually also helps to protect this cardboard bit here from spillages. As we can see over here, it's easily contaminated by any spillages or anything like that. So we got the products that we're going to be shooting today over here handy, so that we can just switch them in and out as required. We have the turntable over there that we're going to introduce at some points when we need to rotate these. So all this is sitting on top of an IKEA tabletop, pretty cheap IKEA tabletop here, which is sitting on a bar table. Now this little bar table here is adjustable and it can go up and down. It makes your life 100 times easier. Okay, so before we get any further, I'm going to give you a bit of advice. Try to get somebody else on hand. Try to have somebody else helping you with shoots like these, because when you're busy trying to get the framing right, trying to get the technicals, trying to get the lighting just right, making sure that everything is in frame and technically correct, it's hard to notice, like, you know, there's a smudge on the bottle until after you go into post-processing. That is not a good thing. So yeah, always try to have an extra pair of hands on set. That'll make your life a lot easier in the long run. Okay guys, so in terms of camera equipment, I've got the Canon 1DX Mark II fitted with the 100mm macro lens out front, and this is all sitting on the Rhino slider with arc and motion. That's sitting on 2 tripods at the moment, so I can always adjust the height of this setup depending on what I want to do. Also on board we have a transmitter, a video transmitter, so I can have an external feed. I can have a remote feed over here and basically it's just replicating what I've got on the main monitor here. So if I need to go do any adjustments over here, for example, I can have this here with me and I can move it along and we can get the job done a lot quicker. So I'm just going to demonstrate how we achieved the first shot. The first shot, it was a backlit shot to begin with. We're introducing the product and we get the rim light on the side, boom. And as it slowly turns, so I'm turning this and it slowly turns, and we can see the slither of light as it moves from the back to the front of the bottle. And then we introduce the key light and we light up the whole product, and that was the introductory shot. Okay, so for quite a majority of the shots, we had the push-in and the pull-back shots. Basically just have the slider moving backwards and forward into the product, and we get in a nice close-up shot. Now the lens at this point is set to autofocus, so we get perfect focus at all times. That's what we're using in this scenario. So the rain started coming right now as we speak, and you probably can hear it. But anyway, just a quick tip here is that try and do your clean shots early up in the shoot. And if you got any messy shots where product is spilling or pouring, then we're going to leave those ones until later on in the shoot, so that you don't mess up your nice set at the very beginning, and then you can't get the shots that you would have needed. We had the shot of this plant. This plant is actually one of the ingredients for one of the products, and we showcased that by having the plant spin whilst we did a slow tilt down on this one. Now, as you can see on the monitor is showing that to be in that position. This is where this table comes in handy. So what I'm going to do now is push the table down so that we get this shot exactly where we need it in frame. Now, as I said before, I'm looking at my external monitor. I'm looking at my remote monitor so I can know when I need to stop going down. So that's how quickly we're able to transition into that shot. Now, this is so useful for making minor adjustments. Now I'm realizing I have to pull this background up slightly so I can get that out of the frame. You can go back here and we have the shot spinning as before. And like I said, whilst it's spinning, what I'm going to just do is just give it a little tilt down, one try. Let's give it a couple of attempts. Okay, and that was it. So a bit of trial and error. See, it depends on how the flower is rotating. Get a few shots so that you have choices in post-production. This other shot quickly was not complicated at all. All we did was put it in the frame and we just shook the tree, shook the bush, shook the shrub a little bit, and that was it. For the sprinkling shot, essentially what we did was fill this product up to the brim, set the camera to 120 frames per second, and it's currently going back and forth on the slider over there. And so what we wanted to do is, as they was pulling back, then we would have the sprinkles and we would have the slow motion sprinkles. Okay, so the second shot of the herbs falling into this bag is essentially the same as the last one, shot in 120 frames per second to give you that slow motion effect. Now the other shot within the sequence is this drawstring bag, and now this was shot in 4K resolution because I wanted to add some extra motion within post-production. So what we have here is simply the bag, and we get in a nice tight close-up shot of this, almost macro shot, and we just zip the bag together, zip the bag tight. And then in post-production, what we did was zoom in even further with that 4K footage, and we added a bit of rotation as we did a push-in digitally. Okay, so the next shot that I want to show you guys is the explosion. We've attached this with Velcro to the bottle, put it on a magic arm clamp that clamped to the bar that's currently holding my second camera. And you can also see that there's a hole in the bottom of the bottle as well. So we've got the product inside, we've got it upside down, and then this was a lot of trial and error as well. So it's a matter of unscrewing this. Oops, there we go, trial and error. But unscrewing that as far as we could go without it falling off, making sure that everything was straight and it was lined up into the camera, giving it via this stick a gentle nudge without shaking the whole system, obviously. So it was just a little motivational nudge. Again, trial and error. Had to do this a few times just to get the perfect explosion as well. So as you can see, it's a bit of a fiddle, but in the end it worked. So essentially that's the explosion shot. Okay, so this next shot was kind of experimental. I'm not sure if it was absolutely necessary for this, but I decided there was something that I wanted to try, something that I had in my head, and it looks cool, so I ended up using it in the video anyway. So what it is, I'm using my other Flex LED. It's a bicolor LED matte light with one stop of diffusion on here. So what I've done is I've put the plexiglass on top, just sitting on it like that, and I've applied the product. So I've put the product on top, and what we can see happening along here is that we have a nice little glow coming from below, and I think that looks pretty cool actually. So for this shot where I had the candles being lit, which was a reverse shot, so I lit the candles, I blew them out, and then I reversed that in post-production, so it looks as if the candles were being ignited on their own. I use that for this shot. So this is quite warm underneath here, like I said, bicolor LED, and I've just turned it down to a warmer temperature so that there's a bit of a contrast from the overall daylight temperature color that is happening in the ambient environment here. Okay, so this shot was probably one of the most fun shots to do. It was a lot of trial and error, and there was a couple of things to consider. So the idea was to push it into frame and hope that two things happen: that the label is in the correct orientation, and two, it's in the correct focal plane. So it's just spot on where the focus is. Yeah, after a few attempts, a few too many, then yeah, we got the right one, but that was essentially how that was shot. Here's one of the cool things about having an external remote monitor as well, is that I'm here and I can just do this until I get it right, and I'm checking to see my positioning is correct or not. So this shot actually stood out. This is one of the shots that stood out in this video. I'm just going to kind of show you how I achieved that. Now I'm going to use the turntable, but this time I'm not going to turn it on. So we're going to grab the turntable, put him in the middle. Just going to rest this on top of here. I'm going to do this manually, but we'll see the results. So look, at the moment we have the turntable sitting below. That's going to give us our freedom of movement, and we've got the plexiglass on top. So we're just going to put them to the starting position as to where they started. Is we're going to have the product showing as 1, so we're just seeing 1. So we might have to make some minor adjustments along the back here so that we're not seeing the products at the back. So it starts off at 1, and then as we spin, they come into focus, and we have sort of a parallax reveal, if you like. So the beauty about not having the turntable switched on is that the turntable goes really slow. So with this, I can do it manually, and I can achieve the speed that I want in real time. So I'll just bring it around like that. Voila, job done. Okay guys, that's it. That is the breakdown. That is the behind the scenes of how I put together this little video. I hope that it was useful to somebody out there. I hope that somebody learned something from it. If you enjoyed this video, then do hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel, because I'm going to be bringing more behind the scenes of this kind of stuff. I might even bring a behind the scenes of the editing process for this, but we'll see how that goes. But for now, I'm going to leave you with the video, and then I'm going to catch you guys on the next video. Peace.